Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Bone Podcast, where we discuss all things crypto markets. That includes the majors like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Hype, Aster, meme coins, and of course, NFTs. Today, we're going to discuss Tether's massive raise. We're going to talk about the SEC's innovation exemption that removes rules from crypto. It's crime season again. We're going to talk about what buttons we're clicking in this choppy market. Today, we're joined by a special guest. We're joined by Serpin Taxt, CEO and founder of Onchain reputation platform Ethos. Serp, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. I've been following and interacting with you on the timeline since the Friend Tech days. But for people unfamiliar with you and your game, give us a brief background on what you've been doing, how you got into the crypto space, what led you to Friend Tech, and what eventually led you to build Ethos.
Yeah, man. Glad to be here. I don't know why you guys let me wear a cat hat on the Dogo show, but yeah, you know how it goes.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Kick him off.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was the right way to play it. No, glad to be here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've been working on goes back to the Friend Tech days, to be honest. That was some of the earliest days of observing this concept of what you said and what you did was actually tied to being on chain, and kind of just decided to run with that. I have a background in building products. I've built products in Web 2 for over 10 years, for millions of users across like B2B SaaS products, basically. And always did crypto on the side. And I was like, man, this is the perfect opportunity. Like, the space needs accountability. We need reputation. We need to be able to measure this stuff so that we can actually progress and move the space forward. So just happened to be the right opportunity for me, and decided after the Friend Tech stuff, like, oh man, someone's got to go build that. And now we're here 8 months after launching Ethos, feeling pretty damn good about things lately, man.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Love to have you on. For anyone listening, this isn't a sponsored post. I'm just bringing him on because he promised me he was going to be able to up my score 300.
That's right. That's right.
Get me to green.
It's all about bribery here
right now.
Well, I just showed up on the show and I saw his name was Serp. I'm like, this guy seems like a cool guy. I had no idea that we were actually in talking to Serpin behind Ethos. I mean, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, no,
big fan,
dude. Be here. Thanks. Yeah.
I need to turn green. We're going to talk about some more ways for me to climb up the leaderboards and turn into a green circle on Ethos as we go throughout the show. We're going to kick it off with a weather report here, though, because we're going to really want to dive into things. Kix will do the weather report, and then we're gonna talk more about Serp, talk markets, and also a nice new product from Bubblemaps that I'm excited about as well. So busy day today. We're going to be all over the place.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's Wednesday, September 24th. The majors continue to bleed with Bitcoin holding steady at 113K. Ethereum now below 4,200. Solana down to 212. Hype sitting just below 46. Aster at $2.30. Fuck Aster, Hyperliquid. Over the past 24 hours, Tether announced a new raise looking for $20 billion of funding at a $500 billion valuation. This would make Tether the most valuable private company in the world, dwarfs Circle's current $30 billion market cap, and would make them on the size of OpenAI. So, AI, maybe crypto's hot again. Next up, the SEC is creating an innovation exemption that will allow crypto companies to launch products without having to comply with previous regulations. SEC Chair Paul Atkins stated this will allow U.S. crypto companies to quickly bring new products and services to the market and will be in place by the end of 2025. Let's go. Let's go, dude, right? Talk about some just back-to-back wins by this administration for crypto. It's great to see. Finally, a North Korean hacker compromised a Seedify developers private key, allowing them to mint additional S-Fund tokens and drain the liquidity pool. The Ethereum-based S-Fund token has crashed to $0 from a $30 million market cap following the hack. That sucks. You just got to be careful when you're dealing with the North Koreans, man. Back to you in the studio.
Excellent weather report as always, Kix. Good news there. A little bit of bad news on the Seedify front. We love the guys over at Seedify. That kind of stinks. Yeah. North Korean hackers are like a real problem in this space because everything is almost like remote. Everything's global. Everything's remote. And it's got to be hard to vet employees. I have two developers and founders here in the crypto space with me who employ developers. How do you guys navigate like that area? Like try to like make sure OPSEC is on point and like know who you're hiring, like Kix, Serp, like any insight here?
I mean, on my end, like I feel like we only hire people that we know, to be honest. Like we kind of stick with like high trust environments with people that we've worked with in the past. We hire moderators and stuff sometimes that you might not know as well, but yeah, trust is a scarce resource in crypto, and so we try to tend to opt towards that belief. And yeah, always got to go for the like. Well, you got to draw a mustache on Kim Jong Un test, and it works pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah, that's super smart. I mean, me, I just play it really conservative. I just don't hire any Asians whatsoever, and that keeps me safe from North Korea. No, I'm totally kidding. More than half of our team at one point in time was Asians. I love the Asians. I mean, here's the thing. First of all, if you're getting inbound leads, it's always going to be riskier, right? Than like if you're working your network, as Serp said, just people you know or people that know somebody, right? That's going to greatly reduce your risk. Also, at the end of the day, just having like good OPSEC, meaning if you hired someone and they got compromised or they happened to be, a North Korean hacker, if they push malicious code to a repo, right? Like this is where you have like a senior dev or a CTO that's reviewing things, right? So even if someone pushed something malicious to your platform, right, you would hopefully be able to catch it and then, ban that person or segmenting new people off from ever pushing stuff to prod right away. But also I think a lot of times these people are getting hacked. Like it's not even like they hired someone. They just got compromised. I mean, if you guys, and they're always coming up with new attack vectors. If you want to hear a crazy one I got the other day, right? I got an email that came from nick@nifty.com. And it said, hey, we're making an amendum to our token warrant. So please DocuSign this. And I hit up Nick and he's like, no, I never sent you that whatsoever. So they not only did they spoof his email, right? So they pretended that it came from Nick@Nifty or whatever. They spoofed the email. They also know that Nick and I are associated, right? So they have some sort of way of determining, that like him and I were connected and had both of our emails, right? And if you're just groggy one day and not really thinking, right? And you're just like, oh, Nick sent me a update to a token warrant, and you're not thinking like, that's weird. Why would Nick be sending me that? And I click that download, it, boom, I'm compromised, right? So, I mean, even when it comes down to like people in the space like that I see on Twitter, they have a bunch of mutuals and stuff like that. If they want to meet, I'm like, cool, I'll send you a Google Meetings link. And like, I'm not clicking any URL you send me whatsoever. Like, I don't care if someone wants to meet on Zoom. I don't meet on Zoom anymore. I don't care if they want to DM me on Telegram. Because I actually had North Korean hackers on a fucking call with me. They tried to get me with the whole podcast scam. And it was super legit. But they didn't get me. But yeah, even stuff like just having multiple computer devices, right? So like your main programming computer, this is different if you're a company, but if you're just a trader, like your main computer you sit on should not have everything, right? Like you should have these days, especially if you have a high net worth, you can buy a second computer. You can have both computers online. You can have 2 monitors, right? And just like any sort of social interfacing with people you can do on one computer and just do your hard work on another computer. But yeah, this space is really tough because I mean, they're always coming up with new attack vectors, new ways to scam you. You just have to like have a very low, trust factor.
Yep, definitely. This is going to actually segue nicely. This episode is actually brought to you by our partners at Bubblemaps. They released a product that dovetails nicely with what we're talking about here. It's the Intel Desk. This is essentially a platform that allows you to bring up issues in the space, hacks, etc. Seeing like what's going on with different prices, like is this organic or not? Are there people insider trading? They even have the CeDeFi hack listed on their Intel Desk. So essentially how this works is users can stake essentially BMT tokens called pledging. It's about $7 worth. They can open a case. Other users can then pledge their BMT into these cases saying, okay, I have all this BMT. I want to pledge it into this case with CeDeFi. I want to see what happens here. And I want to incentivize people to do research. So the more people that pledge their tokens to these different research cases, it increases the multiplier earned for the researchers. And essentially, people can do research on Twitter. They can do direct research on the platform, and then they get rewarded in BMT token emissions from this research. So as a user, you can basically stake to cases to increase the likelihood they get picked up, increase the rewards and the incentives for people who are doing the investigation. And if you're somebody who does a lot of this deep dive investigation, you can be rewarded with real money, BMT token, for actually contributing to these cases. So really cool product, just launched yesterday. They announced it. Here's the Cetify fund. It basically shows you kind of like a Kaido-like leaderboard on who's provided information on this hack. So it'll link right out to like the different Twitter posts. It talks about what happened on some of these. It gives you a little more info on like how to break it down. Like people talking about this. This is essentially, I believe this is from the founder of Cetify talking about what happened with kind of like a 0-day recap on what happened to the platform. And it was basically, I think what they're saying is like everything was audited, but they compromised a dev, like Kick said. So they have these different levels or different cases. You have different levels. This one was very recently created, so it hasn't had a lot of BMT stake to it at this point. If you want to check this out, we've got an easy link to get you over there. Bodogos.com/Bubblemaps will get you right to the Intel desk. You can see what cases are live. You can stake Bubblemaps token. If you're somebody who does research, you can also provide some of your investigative skills to some of these existing cases and earn a little bit of BMT token. Really cool product. Love working with Bubblemaps. They've done so much good work for the space, and I think they're kind of on the same wavelength with Serp and like doing a good for the space, like making sure things are like transparent and there's like accountability taken. Have you looked at this, Serp? Have you talked to Bubblemaps? Like, are you familiar with what they do?
Totally familiar. Love the Bubblemaps team. Those guys are great. Love what they're doing. Again, same kind of concept. Very aligned with how we think about the space and trying to help everyone just be smarter about things. And I like the Intel desk is super cool. Like I'm looking at the Cetify one right now, and it's cool to see like, yeah, if you were an independent researcher, you have the ability to go potentially earn from it. Like that. I've always made the case that like Zach XBT is amazing and everyone loves him, but the space is better when there are 1,000 Zach XBTs. When there's always someone constantly willing to research, and now if there's incentives to do so, you really open the door to enabling more people to do that. And it's pretty cool. I love the platform. I'm excited to see how it kind of plays out with this model, this tokenomics model. It seems super interesting and intriguing. And yeah, it's super cool to see that someone else is trying to push the space forward as opposed to constantly going the opposite direction.
You know what we need here, sir? We need the Ethos circles on the mappers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe I'll go talk to them. I like it.
Yeah. For anyone who's not familiar, I use, but Ethos offers an extension with their platform that basically maps over different apps in the crypto space. Most notably for me is crypto Twitter. So when I open up crypto Twitter, when I have the extension on, it automatically shows me their Ethos ratings. It gives them little circles, and it basically lets me know like, okay, this person is somebody who's respected in the space. This guy doesn't even have a rating. He's probably a bot at this point. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah,
we should totally do that. And one of the things we've been trying to do is get more integrated with these platforms so that they want to do it too, and they can add it and make it match their design pattern and stuff like that. But it's always a really good, quick visual indicator of like, oh yeah, this is someone that I should listen to, or oh my god, no, like I should avoid this person at all costs, which happens more often than you'd think.
Yeah, you see somebody in the red on Twitter, and you're like, wait a second, is that just Kook again? Who is that on the timeline in all red? Big shout out to Bubblemaps. Check them out over at bubblemaps.io. Bodogos.com/Bubblemaps take you right to the Intel desk where you can see all the cases. We love working with them. We love to amplify all of the different products they are launching. That being said, we've got a lot to talk about today. Tether, $20 billion. Of funding at a $500 billion valuation. This makes them the most valuable private company right now. I see SpaceX at 350 bill, OpenAI at 300. Did they raise at a higher valuation, or is 300 the most recent for OpenAI?
That sounds about right. I thought maybe it was closer to 400.
Yeah, ByteDance at 300 billion, Stripe at 70 billion. So this puts them like a decent chunk ahead of everybody.
You're currently valued at 500 billion.
500. Okay, so right at OpenAI.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna close this raise 20 billion at this? Like, what are your thoughts here?
Probably. Don't they make like $20 billion a year income?
20. I think it's $20 million a day is what their current revenue model is, which is wild. I think somebody said, I don't have the exact tweet, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but I think it was like it's like 26 times revenue or something is what that comes out to. I'm gonna pull
it's not cheap, but I mean, if you think that the US's play with dollars is to offload it all to stable coins, then it's not the craziest idea to try to back the number one.
Yeah, we're looking at $8 billion.
It's actually surprising to me how close Circle is to them, because Circle's like 1/3, right? So if Circle's 1/3 at 30 billion, and these guys are raising at a $500 billion, it almost would make me more bullish Circle than want to invest in Tether if they close the round, right? And say that like Circle probably should be worth 100 billion.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. The question is, like, does Tether continue to eat more market share? Like, can Circle grow? I know that Tether seems to be like more closely linked with like the U.S. government at this point.
Tether, really?
I think so. I feel like they just announced the release of the the U.S. stablecoin, which is coming out. Like that was last week.
Okay.
I'm pulling up the chart here for Circle. I mean, this one cooked and then pretty much has retraced the entire run.
That's not them.
No, this is not them.
Yeah, it's weird with TradingView. Like it'll like set you on crypto. Yeah, and then you get like this weird scam.
I mean, it shows you how much I know. I mean, it's similar, but
yeah,
not quite as retraced. They're down almost 5% pre-market right now, or down on the day 5% up pre-market. So they're trading at 134 right now. Their Pico top was just off of 300. I think Clemente did a dance at 300 and sent this thing back down to the depths. Yeah, I kind of like your thought process here, Kicks, on Circle.
It also depends on what Tether is proposing with their investment round, right? So if they're like, we're launching a token or a blockchain that will have a token, right? If there's some sort of play like that on top, then maybe that's why they're raising at a higher val. Like similar to like Kalshi and Polymarket, right? Because Polymarket has like a 2x val, but Polymarket's likely going to launch a token, so you're going to get equity plus a token.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to launch a chain or they're just partnering with chains. We have Plasma coming up this week, which is Tether backed as a stablecoin chain. This is the US stablecoin USAT, regulated dollar-backed stablecoin. Bo Hines is going to be the CEO. So if you remember, Bo Hines was part of that president's working group.
Bo Hines, what a name. You either are going to be a pro football player or a CEO of Tether.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, pretty much that. So this was, I think this was, 2 weeks ago, roughly, that this news came out. So seeing them expanding to the US, probably part of this raise. Plasma is coming out. We talked about this a little bit with B-Check on Monday. B-Check got into the seed round for Plasma. That's been an 18x cook from that initial IPO or ICO. This comes out tomorrow. They announced Plasma 1. This is backed by Tether. So definitely a lot of like things heating up in the stablecoin market. I kind of wanted to talk about this before, but like, is this going to be the big unlock for like kind of on chain? I know people are saying like we're kind of just like passing money around right now. Degens are on chain, basically trading with each other and like hemorrhaging fees to all the platforms. Is stablecoins going to be like the crazy unlock that brings people on chain and has them do some of this more activity down the risk curve? Because I can't convince my normies right now to like invest into crypto. Like, here's what you have to do. You got to get this wallet. You got to convert to ETH. You got to do all this stuff. But if I can tell them easily, like, hey, like if you deposit your money from your bank account into this app on your phone, you're going to get 4 to 10% yield on what you're just holding in a checking account for $0 and it's not locked up. You can always push it back to your bank account. Like if I can sell that much more to my friends than I can like anything on the risk curve, like doing these yield strategies on chain. That money now being in the crypto ecosystem is like one step closer to getting on chain. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on like how that could happen, or like, is this as big of a deal as I'm kind of like thinking it could be?
If it was actually 10%, that'd be interesting. If it's 4 to 10%, Robinhood offers 4%, and you can trade way more in Robinhood.
Well, we have 10%. Is Plasma saying they're going to offer 10% yield?
Yeah, they're doing it through lending, right? Like that's what Blast had originally. Was they had 10%. They might even still have 10%, and it's because we're all degenerates and we're going long and short on things, and we need USDC to borrow against. And so the 10% makes sense in the current point in time when perps are super hot. My belief still is that the stablecoin market is getting very hot, and the margins are going to start going to zero really quickly.
Especially if you get rate cuts, right, sir?
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, you're looking at like the percentage of upside and just having it in your wallet going down. I think like I don't know if you guys moved like a significant amount of money into like Kraken or Coinbase and tried to off ramp from USDC or USDT to USD. The fees are insane. Like they're absolutely insane, and that's how they're making so much money. And your opportunity is my margin. That is going to be the story of the next few years when it comes to stablecoins, and that's why they're all getting funded. Is well, let's bring it back to like 3% or like a credit card type fee, as opposed to I feel like you just get totally reamed right now on stablecoins and getting them into US dollars.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think I had some success on Robinhood doing it. I believe going on chain USD
And paying a
onto
low
Robinhood.
fee.
Yeah, I don't think I paid a fee to go to dollars there.
Maybe that's the way they get you in the casino, and then on the way out, that's what they get you.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that. But yeah, that's what I used for my most recent off ramp. I used Robinhood for that because I was basically went stablecoins to cash and then cash to earn interest on Robinhood while I was waiting, basically like my house down payment. So that's what I did there.
I think I looked yesterday. It was like on Coinbase, it's like $50 is $47, and you're like, that's 6%, right? That's
a lot.
That's a lot, right? When I think about, because like we run a business, you guys run a business too. Like you think of, like sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I could pay my employees in USDC because I just wouldn't have to pay that extra fee. And so you can sit there on the rooftops and you say, well, you can get 4 to 10%, but like if it costs 6% to get into your ecosystem, then like, damn, like you better be holding on to the USDC or the USDT or the Plasma or whatever for a very long time. So yeah, like that's where it feels to me like Tether is raising at the top, the Pico top, which is smart. By the way, they're raising 20 billion, which Circle's market cap is 30 billion. So like they're raising almost as much as the entire other company in the space.
That's legendary.
So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a rough one for me. I struggle to imagine. I think Tether has like a lot of these companies have a lot of like foothold right now, and but it's just going to be hard if the competition is basically cutting fees, and that's like the oldest story in time with businesses.
Yeah, like Amazon.
Mm-hmm. It's a race to zero.
Right. Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of competition, and getting exposure to stablecoins is going to be important. I mean, we saw a run on a number of these stablecoin plays. We saw STBL, the co-founder of Tether, launched on BNB. That one was quite a cook over the last week or so. So like people are going to continue to want stablecoin exposure. I think people are going to start getting on chain with the stablecoin stuff. I think it's going to happen. I think it's just a matter of time. Maybe not like in the next 6 months, maybe the next year and a half. But I just can't see a world where like there's regulations in place, crypto becomes more mainstream, there's ETFs, there's funds. People aren't getting the ick from having to do this. And there's an app that's seamless enough where like, hey, put money on this, earn interest versus not earning interest. Because I think there's like even like a little bit of friction with Robinhood at this point. But we'll see. My hopes are that's going to bring money back on chain and down the risk curve. Moving on to the next topic, we have the SEC creating the innovation exemption. Like this seems like it's pretty big news. Is this basically saying there's no rules for new companies? Like I'm reading it here. I'm reading this right here. SEC to create new rules to allow crypto companies to launch products in the U.S. without having to comply with previous regulatory requirements. So does that mean you can launch something, you don't have to comply, and then eventually you have to kind of pigeonhole your way back into compliance, or like petition for like an exemption that would make sense for your business? I'm trying to understand what's going on here. Kix, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I think it's just basically like the opposite of what Biden and Gary Gensler did, which was like, you have to list with us, but then when you list and report to us, we're going to sue you out of business and not tell you what you can or can't do. I think this is personally massive, and it makes a ton of sense, especially if crypto, the United States is trying to be like crypto aligned. One of the most frustrating things being in the United States is how many times do we all get excluded from airdrops, or we can't use products in crypto, despite being a country that probably represents a huge share of crypto in general. And US people have had to spend all these times doing these like foundation loopholes, or moving to, you know, Puerto Rico to be able to participate in crypto as a builder. So I think this is a massive unlock, especially considering we're like the biggest tech industry in the world. And this is going to legitimize a lot of people, a lot of builders to be able to go this route. It doesn't mean you can do illegal stuff. It just means that they're like opaque framework for launching a token no longer applies. But it doesn't mean that you can just like commit crime. It just means that now you can launch without the fear that, hey, if I'm trying something new in crypto and the SEC magically one day decides they don't like it, then I'm going to get into I'm going to get a Wells notice and have a 3-year long lawsuit. And yeah, so I think this is a big net positive.
Yeah, love to hear it.
And it gets us out of this weird thing where, you know, people were like launching stuff and saying like, it's like Believe app, like it's just a meme coin. You know what I mean? It's just like a meme coin. Like everybody's been having to do all of these like weird loopholes to launch coins. And this could unlock some really cool new things, I think.
Yeah. Any additional thoughts on this regulation as somebody who's building in the space, Serp?
Yeah, I mean, holy shit, what a whirlwind of like 10 months ago, I was talking with the lawyers about like, yeah, you got to go set up a foundation, you got to go do all of these things, you have to have something in Grand Cayman, and I forget the other one. Like, you're like, there's 2 entities you have to set up, and you jump through all these hoops, and it's really literally just protection, whether you're going to do anything or not with the future of your business. You're trying to protect yourself. And I remember that the day Trump got elected, they were like, oh yeah, we probably don't have to do all of those things anymore. And now you're going like full circle. Oh my God, the like SEC and regulators are coming out saying like tokens are not securities, and we are going to be, you know, more welcoming to, I feel like this is kind of saying we're more welcoming to experimentation. And yeah, like Tick explained earlier, they came after lots of people. Go look at SEC versus Stoner Cats and SEC versus all of these NFT. The what was the Gary V? Yeah, Gary V had his sushi club thing, and like they got attacked by the SEC. This to me feels like the US is opening doors and saying, okay, we're open for business with like new crypto things, and we aren't going to be as we're not going to start punishing people as quickly. And it's smart, right? Like you don't want these businesses going offshore and not having taxable US income. You don't want US like I understand the fear about US consumers and how they interact with crypto, but like you don't want the businesses being completely out of the US. Like you're just missing out on a huge market segment at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I want to add here from Vitalik's DeFi paper he wrote last week that really sums this up really nicely of like where we were before and where we are now. I'm just quoting right here from it for anyone just listening. One reason why this was the case was regulatory barriers. Gary Gensler and others deserve serious blame for creating a regulatory environment where the more useless your application is, the safer you are. And the more transparently you act and the more clear guarantees you offer to investors, the more likely you are to be deemed a security. So like now this really to me paves the way for like innovators to really push the boundaries of what crypto can do without being bogged down by all this fear and like legal overhead that can potentially like block them or cause them to like maybe not take that next risk, not take that next step that could potentially like be a big unlock for this space. So I'm excited to see like where the landscape shapes out as like these tailwinds kind of come to fruition, because, you know, we've been talking about this since January, but it's only been 9 months. These things really haven't like really hit pen to paper yet. And we haven't seen this next wave of builders under this new framework come out. So I'm really excited for the next like 2 years in crypto and to see what's going to happen and what cool things are going to be built. So yeah, very, very, very bullish day overall. The valuation and then this crypto exemption from the SEC is just great news all across the board.
I can add something there, Ray. Like one
Yeah.
thing to think about as it relates to builders, right, is a lot of us who were building 2 years ago or got started about 2 years ago, there was fear of debanking. There was fear of like, oh, am I going to be able to afford legal stuff to like set this stuff up, or am I literally going to go to jail? And that actually weirdly ended up equating to opportunity for a lot of builders. Like if you were here 2 years ago, wow, congrats. Like, here we go. This is the time to shine now. Like, you took a risk and now it's going to pay off. The interesting thing is going forward, this should open the door for more builders. And we won't see that actually play out until a year from now or 2 years from now. But if you look at like Y Combinator and Base yesterday, they announced that like they're going to have, they're pushing for this FinTech 3.0 or like kind of like Web3 concept where like they want founders to go build more things around finance in Web3 in the US because, oh, you can do that now. So it will be interesting because we'll get a lagging effect. To be honest, I think you'll see a significant amount of innovation also happen in the next 12 to 24 months where builders today that were afraid of building or weren't really interested in crypto are now like, oh, I can do that without fear of like losing my personal bank account. Oh, I can do that like in a legally and compliant way. And it's going to introduce more scams and chaos too. But I think it'll be really, really powerful in the grand scheme of things. And on a long-term scale is very bullish for all of us as builders.
Yep. And we're going to see hopefully like a new surge of VC money enter the space to fund some of these companies. I think VC capital backing a lot of these startups is really what drove a ton of the bull market last time. And it's why I don't think we've topped the cycle. And I think that like while people have said like, hey, the ETFs accelerated the timeline, I think that the regulations have just extended it by a larger margin than the ETFs accelerated it. So I think we're still
DeFi Llama. Go look at DeFi Llama fundraising for the last 5 years, and we aren't even close to like the beginning of the bull market last time. So there's a lot of upward movement that can be there. Yeah, if you just look at raises, I think is what it's called. There's just a bunch of information there, and yeah, like I'm looking at August, there's $2 billion raised. That was like early 2021 rates. Yeah, you can see like if that is meant to be a chart that somehow maps to BTC, we are very far off from funding and fundraising for new startups.
Yeah, we basically peaked this year in March, 3.5 billion. I think that was one large raise.
There was one big one. Yeah, I think there was like $1 billion raise in there that kind of skewed the data.
Yeah. And for those just listening, looking at it compared to 2021 into 2022, like we've had taking out March as like a kind of an outlier this year because we have had some like much lower months outside of March. None of the candles have approached. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 8 candles from last cycle that are all above where we've been this year. So massive amounts of funding 21, 22.
You would expect to go much higher than 21, 22, right?
Yeah, especially with the institutional capital that's kind of pushing crypto right now. So this could be like the beginning of the run up that we saw in 21, 2022, like these initial kind of runs here. So yeah, I mean, that's bullish. That's a metric I haven't looked at lately in terms of the fundraising. Thank you for bringing that up. That's huge, to be honest. Switching gears a little bit, I want to talk Aster because we set a new all-time high this morning. I'm officially 100% out of Aster now. I sold around 240. This thing peaked right around 240 at 231 now. This is like an FDV, right? Just shy of $20 billion. Are you still in this trade, Kix? And if so, like, do you have an exit in sight? I know you were talking about 220 yesterday. Did you continue?
Yeah, no, it closed.
Okay.
My long closed.
I actually opened up a Hyperliquid long with the proceeds from this from this long, just hoping that things rebalance a bit. Serp, have you been following the Aster / hype / all perp decks
Of course,
that are
yeah.
going on right now? What are your thoughts?
I didn't make the Aster trade. Last week, I was out of the country and was not paying as much attention, so that's my excuse. But I did see Cooker talking about it at 20 cents in this pastel chat. So I have regret around not entering it. But yeah, I mean, this is like a master class of leveraging reputation, leveraging your ability to drive attention to something, and I wouldn't say manipulating the market, but having a good way to say, oh, well, we own, a significant portion of the token and you guys are just trading a small percentage of it. And leaning into kind of like a points program that people think that it's worth farming. All of those things coming together at perfect time was obviously the most optimal outcome. What's interesting to me about Aster is everyone I talk to that uses the product is like, this thing sucks. And you're like, well, that's not a good sign, but who knows what the fundamentals of crypto are these days anyways. I'm a big Hyperliquid believer. I farmed Hyperliquid early and was rewarded accordingly. I also bought a bunch of Hyperliquid, so I have allegiance to Hyperliquid in the equation. And it's a very good product. It's a very good product. That's why I stuck by Hyperliquid originally. So I'm going to stick to my guns on it.
Yeah, I think on the show we kind of generally have that same thought process. I actually was talking yesterday about how I was longing Aster to kind of like hedge my hype bags, which were kind of dropping, and I was like, I can't buy any more hype here. I just want to hold it. Like, this is like a downturn on hype. It's a great buying opportunity, but I don't want to like increase my exposure more so than it is. It's like a very like unreasonable amount of my portfolio right now. I turned around this morning and I longed hype with with these Aster profits on Aster. So we'll see how that goes. But like, I just can't see a world where these things don't rebalance a little bit. I think there's going to be like, it was kind of like a knee jerk reaction is like my thesis on why hype kind of just like, shit the bed a bit overall macro. And then kind of having a serious competitor for the first time, like really show its head and really like compete. So I'm still bullish hype. I think everyone else is still bullish hype. I'm obviously bag biased, like I just said. It's also crazy watching CZ be like a KOL now. And like, he's just pushing this thing like constantly. Every couple hours, I can go to his page and he's talking about perp dexes or Aster on the timeline. And like you said, like leveraging his reputation on it. People have said like he doesn't really post charts. He doesn't really talk about products like this. And he's like really, really pushed Aster. I was curious to see like when you talked about reputation, what he looked like on Ethos. One of the top scorers, I imagine, 2031. Yeah. Is he like one of the most reviewed too at like 588? Is that like a big number for you?
Yeah, and I actually kind of surprised by this. Like, I feel like CZ has a very interesting rocky path. I've never left him a review, but like if you try to look at it objectively, guy's been in prison. Like now he's running his own sideshow and again leveraging his reputation and ability to drive attention. I think one of the underrated things is like he's beloved by the East, and so when you look at who has reviewed him and why, you actually see a lot of people that have you probably wouldn't see it because it's probably translating for you, but written in native Chinese, their support. I think he gets an incredible amount of support from people in China, particularly. And that's a little bit underrated. It can be very easy for us to kind of put blinders on, especially in the US, and say like, oh, well, I understand this and I like these influencers, therefore this is what I believe. You have to remember there's an entire globe of people outside of this that view people differently. I think I've seen some of the most like profound like praises ever written for ZZ on Ethos. So I always thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, this is interesting. So I didn't see this one. This is 5 months ago. Someone tried to slash him on Ethos. So for those not familiar, you can basically open up a slash if you believe someone's reputation on their platform is higher than it should be. And basically you're sticking your neck out there. If you fail your slash, you lose points. If you succeed, the other person will lose points based on like the slash amount. This is an interesting one from 5 months ago. It looks like you provided some commentary here. This one was like right down the middle too. 51 attack, 49% defended. What are the amounts needed to actually have one of these pass through?
Yeah, you got to have like a overwhelming majority, so 60-40 split to make it go through. I thought this was a really interesting slash. Like, it was pretty poorly written originally. I think it was kind of like a knee-jerk reaction by someone who has Hyperliquid exposure, but this is something that like we kind of all forgotten about. If you don't like, I've forgotten that I left a comment on it, but basically, it had something to do with CZ talking about Dingaling and talking down on Dingaling, with his launch of Boop. Uh,
Mhm.
I thought like there are many
Oh, I
other
remember
things.
this.
Yeah, like CZ has done much worse, but like,
This is a
eh,
weird thing to slash him for.
right, but like it was a very in the moment thing because like people were really pissed about it. Like a lot of people in NFT space really like Dingaling, know him. Like I know Dingaling, I like Dingaling. I felt like CZ throwing him under the bus was kind of odd. And so it was kind of like a knee-jerk reaction, but that to me shows the power of ethos, right? Is like we forgot about it. Like you got to go back and look at it. And now I'm like, oh shit, what did I say on chain forever? Like you can't ever get away from that comment, right?
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see the power of it, but also kind of interesting to see kind of the tribalism that can emerge at times. He like CZ got an incredible amount of support from people that were in Asia that defended him on this one too.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you have like I'm curious like what the demographic information demographic info is on Ethos, like
It's hard
what
to
teams.
break it down. Yeah, I mean, like, we see some stuff just based on IP address, but I try not to, it's hard to like draw association with that because so many people use VPNs. But, if you look at just languages used, you've got pretty big presence from China originally, maybe a little bit diminished now. You've got Russia, Ukraine has been surging in popularity on Ethos, Turkey, which is a really big like market out there. Most of the Binance listings are also in Turkish. Oh shit, I forgot the currency, Libra or something. Libra, I don't know. But it's just fascinating to see how that kind of works. And we see a lot of Korean, Vietnamese presence as well. So I do like that it's easy on Twitter to get like caught up in the kind of echo chamber of Twitter. It's always going to be English for you, right? Like you don't actually see a lot in terms of how someone in Asia is thinking about mega ETH or abstract. And Ethos does a pretty good job of being global and giving people an opportunity to see what other people outside of just your echo chamber on CT says.
Sorry, I'm listening, and that is very interesting. Like the different breakdowns, and like it's cool that you're like tracking that, and you've actually been following that over time. I've just got kind of went down the rabbit hole clicking around the site. I just saw the listing
Yeah,
ability. So
listings.
this is cool. So you as a platform, you can do it's a Dutch auction,
We
and
we have a
essentially
listing. Yeah, so we're selling a listing pass basically. So if you want to be on the listings, you can go buy in this Dutch auction. It happens every 2 weeks, a pass, and you can get your app listed here. Now it's an interesting double-sided sword because
Mhm.
you people vote bullish and bearish, and you can
Yeah.
see some of the succinct down there. Poor lads at succinct, they're only 2% bullish. It's meant to be like measured credible sentiment, basically.
hmm Yeah, this is interesting because I participated in this, and I kind of had some feedback on the timeline with this. Like, you're providing people with bullish and bearish votes, and like
Mhm.
as a platform that's pre TGE, as a user, like I want to click every button I can on your site. So like I'm
Right.
like incentivized to vote bearish somewhere, and if I could vote bearish on the thing I'm not familiar enough with, and vote bullish on the things that I actually know, like that makes sense. I mean, I guess that's kind of signal though to an extent, you know.
It's still signal. Yeah, I think that's the thing that people don't realize is like if you don't know it and you're bearish, that's still helpful to know to some extent, right? We have started asking people when they vote bearish why they voted bearish, and some of them do put the option, I don't know this product. But again, we're trying to provide the best amount of data back to everyone in the market, but also specifically the teams. Like, how do the teams get value from this? Like, Fantasy Top has been up and down and up and down. And like, I actually think it's been a pretty good measure of sentiment as far as I can tell. It tracks to what I have heard people talking about Fantasy Top.
Interesting. So, is there a time lapse graph of the?
Yeah, if you scroll down a little bit and see the sentiment with the votes, there's like big graphs with the bulls and the bears. They scroll up just a tad. And if you click in the like 414 votes from 117 bulls there, we should probably make this a little bit bigger, but you can click all time at the top in that tab and you can see how it's
Hmm,
flipped multiple times. from
That's
like
crazy.
insanely bullish to middle of the road bullish to insanely bullish to now it's kind of trending the wrong direction.
Wow. Yeah, that is interesting. So it is like kind of a sentiment graph on these protocols, which is really cool. You guys have really been building here, and like I haven't checked up enough. Like I was a very, I'd say early user to this platform. I think Emma reached out pretty early, and I was doing daily tasks. I had the streak, but then it just fell off of my daily workflow. And like once I got out of doing the streaks and stuff, like I was like, oh man, I lost my streak. I'm not hopping on this platform enough. I'm basically using it from a consumer standpoint with the
With the
add-on and
scores.
then popping
Yeah.
in
But like,
versus using it as a someone who wants to essentially quote unquote farm for a potential token that may be coming out of the Cayman Islands and other locations that you guys are now registered in.
no, you don't have to do that shit anymore, man. No, I mean, like, there is one way to think about this, and like, there's a general rule on the internet called the 1990 rule. 1% of your users are going to be people that are core contributors. They log in every day. They're reading our EIPs, which are changes to the score. They're participating in the community. I only need 1% of my users to do that, right? 9% are like the people that log in every once in a while, maybe once every week. They leave a comment, they interact with the slash, stuff like that. And 90% of your users are going to be people that just lurk, like 100% lurkers. And just think about how you use something like Reddit. That's probably true for you with how you use Reddit, right? You
Yeah.
like 90% of the usage is lurking.
Oh, somebody positively reviewed Easy here. I'm gonna say that's a good one. Yeah,
There
Easy's
you
a
go.
good guy. I
I
trust him.
downvoted that one.
Downvote Easy, not to be trusted. Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
So like the daily tasks, I'm doing them right now. You basically get to like review comments. So like, does this affect the score of these comments and the weight they have?
It does, yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of complexity there that can be hard to like explain to some people. But yeah, if you were to like downvote comments, one, it lowers the impact of the comment itself on that person. And two, it could actually have negative consequence for the person that wrote it. So a lot of times, to be totally like transparent, there's a lot of slop in here right now. And downvoting it actually lowers the score of the person that wrote it. So we are trying to like the daily task is kind of like that daily check-in of just like it's like doing a captcha, right? Like contribute a little bit. We give you some XP as a reward for it, but you're actually helping us understand what's slop and what's not.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm mainly when I do these, I'm clicking. I'm not sure because I don't know like the person who they're reviewing, and I can't give you like a good like analysis of what I think. That's generally what I do. But I basically just did while we were talking. Well, Serp was talking there, like the daily task, which is essentially rating.
Look at all
Up
the
and down
XP you
comments.
have, man. You got 178K. That's pretty damn good. Like there are people that are fighting for like 100 XP right now a week. So
Yeah, I mean, I told you I was a pretty big user of this
early
platform.
is better, man. That's how it works. You got to be early. If you're early to
Yeah.
Bitcoin, you could have mined all that Bitcoin yourself on your own computer, right?
Shit. Would have had an island by now.
Yeah, exactly. We would not be here if any of us did that.
Oh man! Before we get back to more market talk, how can you get started with Ethos if you're somebody who hasn't been on the platform yet? What's the best way to get started?
Yeah. I mean, if you're listening to this, send me a DM and I'll send you an invite. My DMs are open on Twitter. We do have like you have to connect a wallet to get invited. So you have to send an ETH address. That's probably one of the biggest friction points. I'm not upset about it because that friction is actually helpful in preventing us from getting totally Sybil farmed. But yeah, if you want to get started, you're not on Ethos yet. Send me a DM and I can send you an invite and we'll get you going.
Perfect. If you need to follow Serp at Serpin XBT on X, app.ethos.network to get into the Ethos app. Really thankful that you were able to kind of walk through this. I normally bring this up on the show, and I'm met with a lot of just backlash from people who just don't use it and understand it. Clemente, Easy, Nick. they look on, they see their negative reviews, they go, what is this thing? I don't understand it. I'm out of here. So I'm glad to get like a full like breakdown of it for our audience in a way that lets them understand what's going on here. Because I think on-chain reputation, like my thesis on this is that it's going to be very important in a world that's like rapidly becoming more AI driven. You're gonna see more
100%, dude.
You're gonna
Like
see
this could be like the foundation of a social network where you're just like only interacting with real people. What a Garden of Eden that would be.
Yep, exactly.
It's like you're in our Slack kicks. So yeah, there's lots of stuff that we're thinking.
I'm pretty
about
smart, dude. I play the
Yeah.
dumb character just to, be a little bit more entertaining. But no.
But yeah, no, there's a lot more. I think the big thing is like we are product first. So we ship our product, we get it out there. People are gonna attack it. It's our job to go adapt to it, right? So I'll take any amount of heat against Ethos and gladly say, all right, let's go figure out how we make it better. You have to do that with this type of product. It's like people are going to do dumb shit with it. People are going to abuse it. It's just a matter of how you adapt, and having long-term vision will help a lot too here. So
love your office setup, by the way, dude. It's probably one of the best I've seen.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Like,
I'd come there and work with you.
No one ever sits at that desk, so feel free to anytime.
Yeah, sweet. I'm down. I like it. It's good feng shui.
What's going on with the validators? LG wants to know. He was on our show yesterday.
Yeah, I like LG. LG's always in my replies every once in a while. I don't like to give away too much with validators because they're a speculative asset. We gave them away for free to people. If you think I would give you the statement of like, if you think validators don't play a role in Ethos going forward, that would be a very naive take. I very much have every intent it is not something that we have prioritized in the short term. And so I like the idea of like them trading hands and people figuring out like who's here for the long term or not. They do get you XP automatically right now. They give you an XP bonus too. So very little minor stuff, but I have some plans for how to integrate them into the ecosystem overall. And it's something we actually talk about quite a bit as a team.
Yeah, I love to see them. They were a smashing success out of launch. What did they get? Did they get to like an 80th floor at some point?
It was 4 ETH or something like that. And yeah, I mean, 256 collection is it's small. It means that yeah, lots of things can happen, but there's a reason that it's only 256. I only want 256 validators in the future world of Ethos.
I missed out by like, I think maybe 20 on that airdrop. It was like right after I lost my streak. I was like, if I had done it for like one more week, and then the airdrop came out, I just missed it, kicking myself.
It's like the hardest part is like, I had so many people in my DMs that were like, oh, I was right there. And then I had a lot of people that were like, what the fuck, man? I was right there. And like, it went both ways. Like people that understood.
You'll never make everyone happy.
Yeah.
As someone who's been in this space and has worked with a number of teams, and I understand how it works. So I was upset with myself, not with you. Don't worry. We're going to run through some more quick hitters right here from the newsletter to keep you up and informed on everything. You can sign up at dailybones.com to subscribe to our newsletter. Some quick hitters. CZ denied a report about YZI Labs opening funds to external investors. He also tweeted that he wants to reduce BNB fees by 50%. Ethos announced an Ethereum-powered crypto phone called the DGen 1. The amount of crypto millionaires has surged 40% over the last year. People getting rich off Aster, I imagine. Fold partnered with Stripe and Visa to offer a Bitcoin cashback credit card, seeing more and more of this. And then ApeCoin expanded to Hyperliquid, I believe via unit. So now they're available on Hyper EVM and Hyperliquid spot. So that's all the news. Dailybones.com to subscribe. We do this newsletter Monday through Saturday. Monday through Friday gives you a daily update. Saturday gives you a recap on the week, breaking down all the most important stories of the day. I want to give a big shout out again to Serp. Thank you, Serp, for hopping on with us. This has been a ton
and real quick before we leave, just pull up my screenshot, because if you heard all this stuff about Aster, you'd imagine, right? Hype probably a lot of people bridging out. They ain't.
Oop.
Look at the chart.
Up. I'm looking at
bridging out.
I'm not done yet.
They ain't bridging out, dude. Look, we've had bigger dips in people pulling out without any other competing perp decks.
Look,
so
all I'll say is the beta feeds the alpha. It's how it works every single time. No matter what, if the alpha is established, then the beta is going to feed it, and it just takes time. Instead of it's acting like a parasite right now. But yeah, I'm bullish Hyperliquid.
100%, dude. And I honestly think, I mean, CZ, here's the thing. I may be talking shit on him on the timeline because he's on the other side, right? If I'm on a football game, guy on another team, I'm going to talk shit about him nonstop during the game. Okay. But I also can respect a player. Okay. CZ's a player for sure. And he set up this whole thing for a while. He first of all, I think he probably until recently was one of the biggest Hyperliquid holders. Probably dumped Hyperliquid while launching Aster to create that narrative, right? Aster's not even, you can argue about Hyperliquid not being a like decentralized L1 and there's only 21 validators, whatever. Aster's straight a centralized exchange, dude. You're just there's no smart contract. You can't, someone buys and sells something. That's not on chain in a transaction. It's just a centralized exchange. But once again, game respect game. He's pumping it hard. He's making moves. But I think if you saw what he did, right? If we go all the way back to like March or April with the jelly thing where he tried to attack Hyperliquid with the whole, you know, perps game on Binance, right? And then you fast forward to today, and I guarantee you, and he's been planning this since the beginning of the year. Exactly what he's going to do. We're going to rebrand Aster as a perps deck. We're going to get that thing rolling. We're going to rebrand the token, launch it. We're going to pump it into the moon going into Q4, tease out an airdrop, try to steal some market share. But what I will say, CZ gave a little credit to Hyperliquid on the timeline today and said Hyperliquid's the one that created the perps decks meta. So, you know, maybe my hate for CZ has gone a little too extreme. You won't hear that from me anymore on the timeline. Once again, I've been talking shit in the game. Now I think we're going to win the game. So now I'm, you know, shaking his hand, high five, and saying, hey, you're a great linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the numbers going up for Hyperliquid is great. I think it's hard to like not respect what CZ's done. He's like a very thoughtful and like seasoned veteran in crypto. I'm sure he's done a lot. But if Hyperliquid can like withstand this, beat CZ, and continue its run, like I think we're going to see some sort of like massive run. I was about to end the show, but we're going to keep going. I'm not leaving. I've got another thing I want to talk about here. This is one that we talked about before. But I just opened up my deck screener watch list for this, and these things have been absolutely cooking. Kix is familiar. These are the NFT Strategy Tokens. These things have been on a absolute cook over the last 24 hours. I am very sidelined from this now, outside of my Dick strategy position and owning a Token Works token where I get like a slow drip from the Punk strategy token volume. But these things are on absolute cook. Looking over the leaderboard, everything is up at least 20%. Everything but Ape is up 40% or more. The Meebit strategy, which Sergito, the founder of Meebits, has leaned into, up 98% on the day to a $4 million market cap. Punk strategy, the OG token, new all-time high right now, 40 million FDV, 41 cents right now as well. I capitulated way too many of these tokens way too early. Half of this price, essentially. This is huge. Are you still holding this, Kix, A?
Yeah, I took my profits out a while back, but yeah, dude, I think this is just one of those like perfect crypto stories. First of all, just like the product being built was so aligned with just like true crypto ethos, right? It's like a completely on-chain, decentralized protocol. Launched, moved fast, got some FUD from some people. Those people have now converted into believers of the thing. He launched all the underlying strategies for the other NFTs and had some issues with it, because when you're moving fast on chain, it's so hard to know like unknown unknowns, right? And you could call it an exploit or just someone taking advantage of the protocol, but like that happened. But like he didn't give up. He kept pushing through it. He got everything resolved. So yeah, I just think it's like one of the coolest crypto stories of the year. Ryan Otic is a guy that just believes in crypto. He's been building nonstop, trying to get things to work, has had successes, has had failures, but kept going with this one. And yeah, it's been an absolute cook. But it also just shows that, like, to me, the biggest takeaways from this was that holder quality matters so much when it comes to a token, right? And a lot of the people that like bet on this token and believed in him were like long-term OG crypto whales, long-term like punks holders. They're the type of people that if you own the same coin they own, like they're not just going to dump for a 2x, or they're not just going to freak out over something short-term. And yeah, the momentum has just continued to go in the right direction. I called this on the teed up trades at 6 million. I said I think it's one of the coolest things in crypto this year. And it's awesome to see like the price action start to reflect that. But yeah, even like Punk's OTC, which once again, you have to respect people. Masterful trader in this space has made way more than most people combined in this space. He was kind of against it at first. And now is like turned around. He actually bought some Meebits and bought some of the underlying ones. Yeah, but I mean, like he has like the guys behind Flamingo DAO liking it. The guys working at Uniswap that built the V4 hooks, like supporting it. Sergito, right, supporting it. I don't know. It's just one of those things that doesn't happen so much in crypto, where a lot of people will shill things just to make money. I do it myself, but it's rare that you get like to shill something that's actually like net new novel thing, hasn't been done before. So yeah, I'm really happy how this turned out.
Yeah, for context here, if you're completely unfamiliar, this protocol uses a 10% tax on volume. 8% of that goes to buying NFTs for the respective token. Once they hit a certain value, you can basically call a function in the contract to purchase a floor NFT from any marketplace. This wasn't the exploit. Got Bounce asked about, is the exploit still a thing? The exploit is always still a thing, Got Bounce. The way this works is it's decentralized and it's autonomous. So like it doesn't automatically buy things. It has to be called. So a user has to call the buy NFT function on any asset they want. Day one, what happened was these things generated so much volume and put so much money in the treasury immediately that before the front end was correctly working and allowed it to buy the floor NFT, somebody with smart contract knowledge used the funding to essentially purchase an above floor NFT with what was in the treasury.
Yeah, because like if a Meebit's worth 1 ETH, but when this thing launched, all of a sudden the Meebit treasury has 10 ETH. When you run the buy NFT function, you could just run it and have it buy 10 ETH, at one NFT worth 10 ETH. So this person just exploited the arbitrage there. But now that these things are like running in, and it was something that you didn't notice with punks because punks are super expensive. So it's just like an unknown thing that became visible once it was low, like NFTs that are worth like an ETH, and all of a sudden the treasury has 10 ETH. Then there's this big ARB thing. But now people have bots running that are just closing out the ARB automatically as well. So it's something that won't happen again. But yeah, I mean,
Quit's been a big proponent, and he wrote basically, and he audited contracts. He also wrote a bot to basically check price and buy NFT if it ever hits the floor. So people can race his bot if they want to earn a little bit of the ARB there on the NFT side.
Dude, and this is like crypto in a sense too, man. There's like so many gigabrain people that just find ways to get an edge, or like you can call it exploit, or you can call it just, whatever. But the biggest one I remember was during the Meebits NFT mint. This guy figured out a way to like some sort of way to like mint, but like see what he was going to get or something like that. And he ended up minting the rarest Meebit and selling it for close to $1 million. So this kind of stuff happens all the time in crypto.
That's been a thing on ordinals for a while, where you could like see the ordinal you're about to mint and be like, nope, never mind, I don't want that one. Serp, any takes? Have you been following along with these NFT strategy tokens? Do you have any takes here?
Dude, I haven't as much as I should have been. What I would say, to bring it back to Ethos, is I love Adam. Adam's super cool guy. He is very reputable on Ethos, and what I see
Nice.
in this backing is I see a lot of reputable people backing it, and I feel like that's the one thing that I kind of want to help people understand is like, if you can measure reputation, then you can get more signal from the market. And I think seeing the right people support this and those people being in the trade is what you needed to hit this trade early potentially. So yeah, I love it because Adam has tried so many different things. He's built many things in the past. He's always trying to do stuff, and he's like an experimenter at heart. And it's cool to see that him hit something that is successful and drives attention. And hopefully he's making a little bit of money out of it.
Yeah, big thank you to Kix telling me to mint the Token Works Funding Works token. I didn't know who Adam was before this, so that's been huge.
It looked bad for a second. It looked like a bad call for a second.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is like there's like a Jack Butcher on this. It's like a shots on target, and like it's a target with all these misses, and then when you hit the one from doing all the other things, like you make up for it and more. Yeah, since I've got in, I think he launched the Cabal coin, which is like an AI powered. It was like an AI agent coin where you had to convince the AI to let you sell. He released CTO, which allowed anybody to on-chain change the metadata of a token if you could correctly like basically spin a VRNG wheel powered by like the Pirate Nation guys. So that was pretty cool. And then into the NFT strategy and punk strategy, which were huge hits. But yeah, I mean, it
It's
just
kind of like
takes somebody.
art, right? Like it's almost like these are different pieces of art that he's just trying things out and seeing what sticks. And so,
100%.
yeah, it's cool to look at it that way.
Yeah, someone wrote a very glowing review that I think put it in a nice way. It was like, Adam just understands like the on-chain surface area of Ethereum so well from developing these that he's going to continue to be able to kind of find these new and like novel approaches to tokenomics and how
And
things can be done on mainnet.
he's one of the few people who understands Uniswap v4 well. I think
Yeah.
like Uniswap v4 is a very underrated. There's like the entirety of Zora is built on Uniswap v4. There's a lot
Oh,
of really
yeah.
interesting things you can do with it. And yeah, I've talked to Adam about like you could actually do something like consider someone's Ethos score while you're swapping on Uniswap v4. And so there's a lot of like really, really interesting things. We never really tried to collab on something, but it has been cool to talk with him and understand more about how some of the Uniswap v4 unlocks create new opportunities and create new art, or however you want to view these experiments.
Yeah, this talk about these tokens and the backing kind of has me interested. I want to pitch you an idea, sir. Basically, try to figure out how you can like look at tokens and like I'm not sure what your Twitter API usage is. Like if you have like the bandwidth.
Oh,
for
we
this.
got banned. We got banned from Twitter, man. They cut down my account, so I don't have Twitter API access anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you
That's so
can
dumb.
like find a way to like look at a token and then
Mhm.
I mean anyone can build this actually if you have Twitter API because you have Ethos score. Look at who's talking about on the timeline and then give like an Ethos like adjacent score to that token. Because you would see these tokens, I imagine, would be outperforming in general compared to other tokens in terms of who's talking about them on the timeline.
That's
and
right.
what their
Yeah. Yeah.
like.
The average reputation of someone talking about it. Yeah. I've been vibe coding some stuff. I'm doing a stream later today and I do it on Mondays and Wednesdays. But one of the things I've been talking about is like, how do you go flag someone as being bullish on a token? And then how do you like show the performance of that token over the next day or the next 7 days, the next 28 days? And there's a lot to tie that I want to like figure out how you take sentiment that exists on Twitter today in your example and the example I just shared and add some accountability to it or potentially create some signals out of them. And I do think like to your point, like from a very like subjective and kind of mushy point, it's obvious that the right people were in the trade when it came to token works.
Yep, 100%. Damn, we're 15 minutes over. I've been having a ton of fun here. I do have to cut it here. Thank you, Serp, for joining. It's been a ton of fun. You can follow Serp at Serpin XBT, SERPIN XBT. You can go to ethos.network to access Ethos. If you DM Serp, he said he was going to give you an invite. So if you haven't gotten started on Ethos, you can absolutely do so today. Serp is a great follow on X across many different topics, as I'm sure you've understood from listening to the show. Thanks again, sir, for hopping on. Really, really, really appreciate it. But that's gonna do it for today. If you're listening on Spaces, give us a like, give us a bookmark, push us out there in the algorithm. We do this podcast Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. You can catch us on Spotify. You can catch us on Apple. You can also watch us on YouTube. See what we're talking about in real time. You can see the platforms we're using, see the charts, see everything, get the full breadth of information. Thanks again for listening. Have a wonderful